And welcome back to episode 133 of the Weekly Tech Wrap with me, Jay.
And me, Carl.
So, Carl, we are back for another week of the latest tech news and stories. And this week, we've got a bit of a mixed bag this week. We've got Biden's, I'm guessing you call it a crypto tax.
Yep.
Apple's going to make some industry standards. We're going to talk Twitter. Just because, let's be honest, it is the fire that keeps on burning. We've got NVIDIA's new neural texture compression technology. Yes, you try saying that with a mouthful of something else. And the Tech Wrap rumor mill is back, of course. This week we've got a couple of Apple rumors for you, featuring the Apple Watch Series 9 and the iPhone 16. Yeah, we're done with the 15. We're talking 16 now already. But before we get there, let's talk about then this proposed 30% tax on crypto miners' power bills. It's an interesting way of doing it. It's got a weird acronym, isn't it, as well?
Oh, it was, what is it, DAME, but we'll get to that in a minute, yeah. So, I mean, they've not had it bad enough, obviously. Ethereum moved away from, is it proof of work, isn't it, to proof of stake? So they stopped using GPUs, and now it's something to do with storage and how fast the storage is. But yeah, so that's obviously you got all these crypto miners of all these GPUs. They can't do anything with now. So, but just to put the nail on the head to say, Biden, yeah, they've announced this. What are they calling it? The Digital Asset Mining Energy Excise Tax, or DAME. And really, yeah, it is aimed at crypto miners, but only companies that crypto mine. So yeah, it'll apply to all digital currencies mined in the US, including Bitcoin, obviously, which is still the big one that uses GPUs. It's imposed on firms, but not individuals. And it's going to be phased in from 2024. So 2024, you'll start to pay 10% of the electricity you use. Oh, sorry. Is that right? How's that get? Yes, 10%. Yeah. So if your electricity bill comes to, I don't know, £30,000 a month, you need to pay 10% of that on top of that as a tax. 2025, that jumps to 20%, and 2026, that jumps to 30%.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I mean, this is an interesting approach on it, isn't it? I guess, because crypto mining is chewing a lot of power, isn't it? Let's be honest. We know that.
It is, yeah, huge amount still.
And what was one of the stats I think was read, wasn't it that crypto mining in 2022 in the US came close to the same amount of power used for residential lighting for the entire United States?
Wowza.
That is a lot of energy. I mean, there was one other kind of point that made me chuckle, and it came from and noted, and I state this is not my statement, but noted anti-vaxxer and previous potential Democratic candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Yes, not that Robert Kennedy, because that would be quite crazy. But his son, who has some strange ideas, isn't he? And he got vocal on Twitter saying that he argued that it was a bad idea and decided to compare the electricity usage of crypto mining to that of video games, which nobody bans. I think you've got your facts wrong, sir.
Oh, just a tad. I mean, the thing is, how are they going to prove this?
This is it.
I mean, unless you are a dedicated mining company, and those are the plenty of those around whose sole business is mining. But if you're not a dedicated mining company, or you register your company as something else, how are they going to find out? I suppose they can integrate with the power companies and say, this guy's using an awful lot, let's go and have a look.
Do you recall, we talked about this a couple of years ago, that crypto mining firm in the US bought that power station? Do you remember that?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Do you remember? So that I think it was a private equity firm called Seneca. Private equity firm in a place called Seneca Lake. Bought a coal plant around 2022. They were going to turn it into a crypto commercial mining thing.
Yeah.
Because they thought it'd be easier than trying to take it off the power grid they'd generate. Well, it turns out that then they ended up getting regulated because they couldn't get air permits because obviously
to run the coal in. Yeah.
A coal mine had been shut down. And then they were going to store, was it 88 million gallons? I think it was something along. I read somewhere something like 88 million gallons of liquefied petroleum gas in caverns near the lake.
Wow!
All kind of things. It was basically like these local residents were like, "Hang on a minute, why is the local power plant restarted?" And then they apparently decided to do some research, and they discovered this was their obviously discovery, not saying that they realized that global Bitcoin mining used more electricity than some European nations. So they managed to take the call. So yeah, I can see Bitcoin power,
Yep.
not just Bitcoin, sorry, Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies mining chews through power. We know that.
It does. I mean, there was an interesting one actually back in February 2021. What was it? It was Texas. Okay, so they were having power outages, weren't they, back then? So apparently, the government or Texas paid a company called BitDeerMine $175,000 an hour to turn off its crypto mining computers during that incident. Wow. I mean, how much actually were they chewing through in Texas?
I don't even want to consider. I mean, that is just absurd. I mean, how much power?
Yeah. We'll pay you $175,000 just to stop. For now. Per hour to stop while we've got this power issue going on.
Well, I mean, the only country that seems to have done similar to this is China, of course, isn't it? Where they banned cryptocurrency the other year, and obviously, we saw a glut of GPUs appear on eBay.
Cheap GPUs.
Cheap GPUs. But now that they've banned, cryptocurrency officially, I mean, let's be honest, I wonder what goes underneath that. And the World Economic Forum listing, they call out Bitcoin again specifically because it seems to be the poster child, doesn't it? 62 terawatt hours per year. That was officially in 2020. Wow. So by pure extrapolation, that's gone up already, hasn't it?
Of course it has.
But yeah, look, something has to be done here. It is still, we talked about this a lot. I think you've called it the Wild West before, haven't you?
Yeah.
It still is, and you can't have this going on, and it's just nuts. And the problem is, it's still such a facade of what really is going on, because all of these, crypto mining, the so-called, blockchain is the savior of everything. These crypto exchanges that I've given up trying to count how many crypto stories we talk about where things have been stolen. So what you got to ask yourself here, what really is going on? Because crypto doesn't appear to be this wondrous wondrous savior to the fiat currencies that everybody.
Well, it's not now, is it? I mean, it's not like there was a spate of time where you could go and use Bitcoin to buy stuff, wasn't there? And there'd be machines, but you don't really hear about that nowadays. It really is just something people are betting for or against, isn't it? And just trading a commodity.
Yeah, basically, it is. It's like, I guess it's a bit like the stock market, isn't it, to a degree?
But you don't really own anything. It's not like if I go and buy those shares in Google or Apple or something, I technically I own a percentage of the company.
What happens if I steal your Bitcoin then? Is that theft? I mean,
no, because it doesn't exist as a digital. It's not even a legal digital currency, is it, or a share or a regulated industry? That there's nothing. Yeah, you don't get anything back. Well, we've seen that. We've seen that in the news, isn't it? 600 million being stolen in Bitcoin, and yeah. What are they going to do?
Exactly. What are they? Well, this is it. Where do they? As we've seen already, you can't get it back, can you? With these exchanges, it's gone.
You walk into the police, they're just going to laugh you out, aren't
they? All I can say is that I think I'm not suggesting taxes are great or anything good, but I think there needs to be some regulation to start coming in, and there needs to be something to try and at least slow down the damage that's happening here, isn't it, with these cryptocurrencies? Yeah. And if governments, particularly the US government, wants to be serious about climate, because ultimately this is what we're talking about here, isn't it? It's about climate change.
Yep.
And it's about the the environmental damage. Then actually, they probably should be doing something here. So
they're hoping to make some money out of it. They're hoping to make $3.5 billion over the next 10 years on this tax.
Well, that tells you everything you need to know, doesn't it? There you go. That statement alone. So there you have it. A proposed Bitcoin energy tax, then, I think is probably the better way to do it, on crypto miners. There's so many words you could use here in that statement. So the Dame, then. So the Dame, you too will get billed by the Dame. Oh, I like that. That's work. We got Dame. What's the other one in America? There's the one they took out the mafia with, wasn't it? The RICO, isn't it?
RICO, yes.
Yeah, that's it. The Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO. So you got the RICO and the Dame. I do love their acronyms. They are very good.
It's almost like they went, I want that acronym. Let's work this back.
How do we work this back? Yeah, that's it. All right then. So going from one side of legality to another, then, unless you are completely alien to any of these concepts, you'll be aware that smart personal tracking devices are everywhere.
Yep.
Um, companies like Tile have had them for many many years, and of course, a couple of years ago, Apple released the Air Tag, which as you and I both have them, they're great devices.
Yep.
I've got them on my keys, I've got them on my bag. We've all probably seen the stories now of people putting
Help
them in
me.
their
Yep.
luggage. Yeah,
Yep. Help me recover my luggage. I watched it on Find My Device go round and round a conveyor belt in Heathrow for days, and then get shipped to a warehouse. Then literally go all the way up to nearest Scotland and all the way back to get to my house on the truck.
up and down,
Yeah,
up
up and
and
down.
down.
So you could have just dropped it off on the way past.
So yeah, so we know they work, but of course there is a nefarious side to these air tags, and there are many other stories, of course, in the press around not the successful use of air tags, but those of people using them to track people, put them in people's luggage, for reasons that actually we shouldn't be looking at, should we? The coercive control, domestic violence,
Yeah.
and other stalking, and very illegal and I guess ethically immoral as well use for them.
Yep.
Um, Now Apple did introduce, didn't they, the feature that if you did had an AirTag that wasn't attached to you, it would, as in your account, you'd have a pop up on your iPhone or
Yeah.
device
If it was on traveling
saying,
with you for so long, you'd get notified, wouldn't you?
but it wasn't instant, was it? It was usually later or after the event of what you've been somewhere. People would
Yeah, I
say,
mean, I don't think it could be instant. Somebody could be sitting on the bus with you, or 20 people could sit on a bus with you, all with air tags on their keys, and all of a sudden you'll get bombarded because they're not your air tags. So there had to be a certain amount of time that it sees a tag traveling with you before it alerts you.
but that obviously that's not necessarily the best way to do it, is it? And Apple aren't the only manufacturers. As I said, we've got Tile, Chipolo,
I've got one of those. Samsung have
Samsung,
their version, don't they?
of course, Google now have introduced their own versions, haven't they?
Yeah.
But they're all doing their own thing. Apart from those on the Apple Find My network, all the others are kind of got their own, I guess, rules and regulations, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, interestingly, it seems that Google now and Apple have decided to partner up to create, or at least start to draft, an industry standard
Yeah.
to allow, well, I guess in simple terms, allow you to detect any kind of tracking device, isn't it? That's using
Yeah.
the standard.
Because I mean, well, say we talked about the AirTags, and you can do it on your Apple phone. What if you had a Google phone or an Android phone of any device? You couldn't necessarily track, or you certainly at the beginning you couldn't track an AirTag. But Apple did release an app for Android allowed to do that. But the downside as well with this app, you basically had to open the app and scan for a tag. There was no kind of in the background checks or anything. It was all very manual. So yeah, this new specification is designed that whichever platform you're on, whether it's Apple, Google, or something else in the future that might come to compete, and regardless of the tags that are following you, the phone should pick this up. If the tag manufacturers actually sign up for this specification. So obviously Apple and Google are going to. Apparently Samsung, Tile, Chipolo, Eufy, and Pebblebee. I've not heard of that one.
No, I've not heard of them.
No,
No.
they've all expressed interest in supporting this technology. So hopefully we will get, by the end of the year at least, a ratified standard that all these manufacturers are going to adhere to, and then that will be built into iOS, to Android, and hopefully problem solved ish.
Well, you know what? This isn't a bad thing, isn't it? Really, because
No, it's definitely good.
a lot of usually and I will say the big two, they get a lot of bad press because they don't cooperate. We have the whole thing about the app stores and cooperation with RCS and iMessage and that. But sometimes good things do happen, don't they?
Yeah.
And if this does get, as you say, get built in, and if you are buying a product from one of the aforementioned companies, you can kind of at least have peace of mind that you can use it for what your usage is.
Intended purposes, yeah.
Yeah. But if somebody does it, for unwanted tracking, then they do it. Now, Apple being Apple, of course, put out a statement in there, and we've got Ron Hung, who is Apple's vice president of sensing and connectivity. What a great department. And they put a quote out, which is the typical Apple. We did this best. So Apple launched AirTag to give users the peace of mind knowing where to find their most important items. We built AirTag and the Find My network with a set of proactive features to discourage unwanted tracking. Yeah, later on. A first in the industry. And we continue to make improvements to help ensure the technology is being used as intended. This new industry standard builds on the AirTag protections and through collaboration with Google results in a critical step forward to help combat unwanted tracking across iOS and Android. I mean, I love how Apple are like, yeah,
It
well,
was
I mean,
us. We let them have the
it was us.
technology.
Yeah, we did it. Theirs wasn't good enough. And I like the fact it also said that we had a set of proactive features to discover tracking. No, I think those were reactive features.
Yeah, they weren't quite there at the beginning, were they?
No, they weren't. And I suppose Apple would argue that they were coming.
Yeah,
But
it was like the new features with iOS 16. You won't get them until halfway through the year. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's like everything, isn't it? But no, you know what? I have to say, it has made me want to go off and have a look at some of these other companies.
Yeah.
Pebble Bee, like you say, I'd never heard of Pebble Bee before, but their tagline is track what matters most.
So I've got one of the Chipolo ones.
Yeah,
but and it does work very well. The only issue is you don't get the ultra wideband, so you can't, like you did the other day when you were trying to find your AirPods. Sorry, not earpods. You did the whole compass thing, and it pointed where it was. It was in your bag. Can't do that with the Chipolo ones. You just get the rough area you're in.
Well, they haven't got the ultra
wideband yet. No, they don't have that one.
No, so yes, you are right. So yes, yesterday morning you and I were traveling for business, weren't we? And I'd been out for a run in the morning, and I came down, checking out the hotel, and I thought, where are my headphones? And as you say, I pulled out the Find My app, getting closer, and yes, it said that was it 1 foot away, half a foot, and clearly they were in my bag.
It's in the suitcase, yeah.
But you're right, and you know what? I did the same earlier. I couldn't find my car keys. I was like, where are my car keys? So I fired up the Find My app. And then it dawned on me I'd left them in my bag as well. But it's that capability to locate where they are. It's all right saying last known location, but actually being able to home in and get a directional view on it, I think is the way forward. Yeah. But those Pebble Bee, they make 3 products. They create a tag, which is like the tiny little tag, sort of square tag that could go for things. Got a for luggage. They do a clip for your keys and stuff, and they do a card that you can slide into your wallet.
I have the Chipolo card as well as the
18
tag.
months apparently.
Yeah, you can't if it's anything like the Chipolo one. You can't replace the battery in that one, so it's a new card at a time. But I have one in my wallet after I had the incident of losing my wallet in the pub. So I bought one, and I've used it a couple of times when I've misplaced it around the house, but works very, very well.
Interesting.
You don't get the pinpoint ultra wideband, but it was enough to get me into the location going, I managed to find it.
No, and I guess Apple want to keep some stuff for themselves. And
they do.
But who's to say in the future that they won't, allow other device manufacturers to extend that capability out? It's not improbable, is it?
So the only thing I came across with this specification is what happens to all the old devices out there. Now, the AirTags I know are firmware upgradable. They do it silently in the background. So I imagine Apple will put the new specification into the current AirTags that are out there. But what about the other guys? Can they firmware update those tags? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Or we still have very prized possessions on eBay for those stalkery types, one that doesn't stick to the standard and you pay over the odds on eBay to get it so you can stalk someone.
Of course, not condoning that behaviour, but yeah.
No, but you can see where it's going. If some of them aren't upgraded, they'll demand a premium in certain circles.
They are. It's like a lot of these things. You know that's going to happen, isn't it? There will be. You're right. I can't suspect, playing devil's advocate here, that you're right that the older products here probably have that capability. Especially some of those older tile units.
Yeah.
Probably don't. Samsung, I'd want to go out on a limb and say that
they're probably upgradable.
Yeah.
But like a lot of other Android devices, will they actually get the upgrade?
Well, and also the other thing is saying here is that the cheaper products here again may not have had that built in either. That might be something that's capability that hasn't been factored in. Because usually if you've got a cheaper product, it doesn't usually have the same features and capabilities of the more expensive items, does it? So
no, not at all.
I think you're right. It's a valid point. But it'd be interesting. So when are they saying, or what's the timeline here on these then?
Well, they're looking to ratify it by the end of this year, aren't they? So At that point, I suppose we might start seeing devices early next year, or maybe firmware updates to older devices that enable this functionality.
Possibly,
I
yeah.
imagine, obviously, we're going to need some upgrades to the iOS and Android to enable that side of it.
Maybe. It depends. You're right. Depends on application. I suppose there'll be variations, but yeah, I probably within minimum 12 months. Given that it's
Next year, I
given
imagine.
it's software, and I imagine probably it's more of a software element here to a degree. I suspect than
Yes.
anything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quicker to get that
Not
than
a
have
hardware, software and firmware issue, definitely. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, we'll keep anybody updated on this. As more information comes out about it, and of course, once we're able to test it, we will let you know. Maybe we'll need to purchase some new devices.
I actually need to buy some more AirTags. So yeah, maybe.
Okay, then. So Twitter, then. Come on, let fire up the Twitter, the pot of doom.
Oh, you know what? That big shiny number of followers you have, maybe.
Oh, what? Possibly.
Possibly. But you might be losing some of those soon. So Musk has announced they'll be purging accounts that have had no activity at all for several years. Now, first, I was shocked they weren't already doing this, but they weren't apparently. The only time they ever shut down accounts is if you've never logged in what was 6 months, but it's very recently changed down to you have to log in every 30 days before your account goes inactive. But yeah, Musk is planning to purge all those ones that have had no activity for several years. Now, I think, as usual, with Musk policy changes, they're lacking a bit of useful information.
Of course they are.
So what do they mean by no activity? How is it different from logging in? Now, I'm not someone who posts to Twitter, but I consume a fair amount of content there. I follow lots of people. Will my account be purged because I don't post?
Well, I would say, no.
But I log in, but am I active? This is very different from you need to log in for every 30 days. Otherwise, he wouldn't have bothered saying it. He says no activity at all. So what's activity?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You'd like to assume that activity, I don't know, implies that you log in. You're active on the site in the sense that
I'm browsing, I'm clicking through URLs.
Exactly.
I'd hope.
My person, coughing there. My personal view would be that inactive account would be an account that has not logged into the site for X number of days. That would be.
But he's already covered that with his terms of use. You have to log in every 30 days.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But on the viewpoint of what I would class as inactive, that would be my view. But yeah, you're right. But with Musk, oh God, you're right. How many clicks have you had? Because if you
do we have to post every 30 days? I'm just going to get a lot of messages saying blah.
Yeah, Carly, all right. Blah, 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 blah.
That's my allotment for 30 days. I'll be back next month.
Cat ran over my keyboard. Blah blah blah.
But the other thing that kind of raised, what happens to old accounts? The content they posted, is that going to be there but not associated to an account? Are they going to be deleted? Now, Musk apparently said when somebody asked him, they said sounds like he was thinking on his feet. They'll be archived. But again,
what does that mean?
What exactly does that mean? Who knows? Are they just going to be taken offline and effectively deleted, but they're still sitting on a server somewhere archived? Archived to me and you, or most people in IT would mean, like, I've archived mail out of my mailbox. It's now not in my normal mailbox. I have to go somewhere else to see it. But I can't see that applying on Twitter.
Yeah, I don't know. I like exactly to your point. You just have to ask yourself with Musk, am I reading the truth here? Unlikely. Am I reading something, as you say, thinking on his feet? Is the next version of this that will change dramatically?
Was it a well thought out, coherent plan? No.
Oh dear.
Because usually, if you, as a company, when you announce a big change, you usually have, more than just 5 or 6 words announcing it, and you have a whole blurb about it. You have an FAQ, kind of trying to think ahead of all the different questions that will be asked. You just don't get that with Twitter.
No, you don't.
No. Oh, sorry, you don't get that with Musk. I think we used to get that with Twitter.
I think you did get that with Twitter. I think previously, but now it is very much.
But of course, you can't reach out either, can you, for comment? Because you just get the poo emoji back. Because there's no one there to answer.
Oh God! I can't. My brain wants me to answer, and I'm just like, there is nothing I can say here that that actually just makes any sense with this, because Twitter is just, I just not.
Could you imagine any other company acting like that? The
No,
company we work
no.
for, email internet customer support, get the poo emoji back. That's the end of that. We'd have no company left.
So how's that renewal going? Well, I wouldn't bother.
Yeah, it's going poo.
Oh my God!
Just
I mean,
yeah.
Interestingly though, last night there was another bit of breaking news, wasn't there? Last night from Twitter.
There was indeed. I'll let you take this one.
Again, not much information, just to be clear.
Of course, yeah. Zero, really.
So last night, Elon Musk announced that he has selected a new CEO for X/Twitter. He did indicate he did, starting in 6 weeks. My role will transition to be the executive chair and CTO. Oh God, help everybody! Overseeing product, software, and sysops.
Those poor developers.
So basically, then nothing is going to change except that they're going to have to deal with all the poo emojis. And you, Elon, will take all the glory.
Yes, of course. Yeah, of course. Whoever this poor CEO is just going, as you said, they'll be getting the brunt of the crap.
Yeah, but we have no idea who the Twitter CEO is. There has been no leak.
There were some rumors this morning.
Well, okay. We've gone. Who do you think?
I don't know. It was someone in America. Did I bookmark it for later? Oh yes. Here we go. I bookmarked it for later. Who was it meant to be? No, is that the wrong one? No, I clearly not bookmarked it, but yeah.
Oh, hang on. Here you go. So I've just found a page from one of the US links. Now there are several names being bandied around.
Yes.
The favorite is Linda Yaccarino.
That's the one.
That. Who, interestingly, she comes from NBC Universal's head of advertising, isn't it?
Yes, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one I saw this morning. But obviously not confirmed.
No, but there were also several other outliers, weren't there? We had Sheryl Sandberg, which I don't think that she would lower herself to do that.
No.
Because let's be honest, she practically ran Meta, Facebook, didn't she? Alongside Zuckerberg. Given her standing, her prestige, why would you want to cover yourself in the crap emoji? I don't know. There was also Robin Denholm, who is another former Telstra executive. She works with VPs and chairwoman of the Tech Council of Australia. Again, she has been linked with this, but again, she's based in US. She was, technically speaking, she's Elon's boss at Tesla because she's chair of the board.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's interesting. But I can't see Musk wanting to get that relationship there. There was Marissa Mayer, who was the former Yahoo boss. Now we're just scraping the barrel, I feel. And then the final
random woman name. Yeah.
Yeah, the final one is TikTok's chief operating officer, V. Papas. Apparently, he comes in as an outside shot. So we've got a couple of Australians in the running here potentially. But yeah, I think this Linda Yaccarino. I apologise for butchering your name. She does appear to be a favourite. Again, coming from a ad revenue based organisation, probably good choice to have some of that, but it's very different to running a technology company, and that is what Twitter is ultimately.
She won't be running a technology company. She'll be the puppet for the person running a technology company.
Oh, yes. But yes. So in the next 6 weeks, then we will discover who the new Twitter CEO is. And we wish her all commiserations on her appointment.
Yes. Cards in the post.
Carl, so tell us about this NVIDIA's neural texture compression technology, because I can't.
Well, so it's something we've known for a while. NVIDIA tends to ship their GPUs with not a whole lot of VRAM nowadays, especially compared to AMD. I think as games are getting better and better visuals, the textures inevitably get bigger and require more VRAM. So I think we're getting to the point now where 8 gig of VRAM just isn't going to cut it for much longer. So, NVIDIA, add more VRAM then? No, don't be silly. They've just announced this neural texture compression technology, or NTC. It's basically AI powered, of course. and basically allows material textures to be stored up to 16 times more data in the same space. It's using kind of major compression there to shrink it down, or AI-based compression over standard methods. So yeah, shrink the size of your textures. You can fit more in your 8 gig of VRAM. But they're all going on to say, it's indistinguishable and no loss of quality. They're saying it provides superior image quality over the current AVIF. And now I'd never heard that until the other day when I downloaded an image. It was in that format, threw me for a while. And then JPEG XL, which are the ones they traditionally use in game design. Now, apparently, it can be used with general purpose GPU hardware and the tensor cores on the current gen NVIDIA hardware, and it does so in real time. And they're saying that if you're using JPEG or this AVIF image compression, it requires dedicated hardware on the GPU and isn't actually designed for real time decompression. Whereas their stuff is, it will use generic hardware. Apparently, they're going to give us more information at their developer conference in August, I think it is.
Okay. So I'm guessing this is, from the way I interpret this and for what I read, my view is this is way off, a couple of generations away.
Yeah, this is still early days. We're not going to see this one for a while. And the cynic in me can see NVIDIA continuing to ship 8 gigabyte cards, but calling them 128 gigabyte because of the 16-time compression, while charging more money.
Yeah. On one hand, right, I get, I'm all for technology advancement. I'm all for anything that can do to improve, the capability, and ultimately, maybe reduce costs, because if they don't have to put as much VRAM, or they, keep it. But you're right, the way things are going, and this is more of a development argue, isn't it? That and more around when I say the development, around the actual engines, isn't it? That,
Yep.
Then there needs to be kind of a really concerted effort here between NVIDIA and the developers, isn't it? Really,
and the other players in the market.
Well, yes, ultimately.
I know NVIDIA's got a way of pushing stuff on people, but yeah, I think AMD and Intel will also need to support this, as well as Unity and what's the other big engine? The other game engines are, Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine, that's the one. Yeah, they'll all need to support this new technology, so it doesn't just need to work on NVIDIA to be beneficial to everyone.
But that being said, cooperation does occasionally happen, doesn't it? I suppose. But yeah, you're right. NVIDIA are going to want to make sure that their technology comes first, isn't it? And
exactly.
More of, plays best on NVIDIA, popping up everywhere.
What usually happens, NVIDIA makes it, AMD makes their own version, makes an open source version of it instead, and then they all adopt that one.
Well, you never know, but
because it's open source, has no license fees, every card can support it.
Maybe this is just driving innovation, though. Really, is that the way to look at it?
Yeah, I suppose that's one take on it.
Let's drive some innovation, and get on with it. I mean, let me just think about it. VRAM on your card, what's yours?
24? Is it 24 or 20 on the 3090? I can't remember. I think it's 20, isn't it? Is it 24 on the Titan ones? 3090.
I mean, mine's got 8 gig, hasn't it? The 3070 Ti's got 8 gig.
What does it say? Why can't I see just a straight answer to that? It's 24 gig. Sorry, I lied. The 3090 has it's 24 gig.
Yeah, so
I don't have machine turned on at the moment, my gaming rig. So
no. So, but what I'm saying is, right, again, this is the thing. So yours is a 3090 with 24 gig. Yeah, the 3070 has got 8 gig.
Yeah. Well, the new 4000 series, a lot of them have only got 8 gig, haven't they?
That's what I mean. It's just there's no correlation here at all, is there? So I personally want this to come. Of course, it's not going to.
But then did I hear something the other day that the new 4060 Ti will be getting us at 12 or 16 gig of VRAM?
But see,
what? But that's the lower end card. Why is it getting more than the higher end card?
Without going down a rabbit hole, this is like Apple and RAM, isn't it? Why does it cost so much money to add more additional storage, to a Mac? You end up paying way over the odds, don't you? To get additional memory here. And it's the same here. I'm guessing in the grand scheme of things, that VRAM, surely they could absorb a little bit of that cost to increase the VRAM on it. But I suppose, that doesn't shift loads of cards, does it? Or get you to upgrade.
It's not what the shareholders want to hear either.
No. That's very true. Very true. Well, there we go then. On that point, so coming soon to a graphics card near you, probably within the next couple of years. So on that note, then. Yes, the rumor mill. And this week we've got a story on the Apple Watch Series 9. And what, according to some leakers, then, could be the first speed bump for a couple of years as well, isn't it?
Could be, yeah. So is it Mark Gurman, isn't it? This one's coming through.
It was,
yeah.
Gurman from 95, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be updating the chip. So, yeah. What, the Watch 6, 7, 8, and Ultra basically all use the same chip, don't they? They've got names. It's S6, S7, S8, but they are the same dual-core 64-bit SoC in all but name, really.
Yeah, effectively.
Yep. So apparently, this new chip, the S9, I presume it will be called, is likely to be based on the A15 or tech from the A15, or else the older 6, 7, 8 are based on the A13. So I'm in two minds about this. It's about time they upgraded this. I can imagine this upgrade to a newer process, the A15. It's going to get us better performance, hopefully better energy usage, power saving, take up less space. It's a smaller node. But I've not once seen my watch slow down, and I'm still running the Watch 4 with the S4. I don't ever remember me going, come on, hurry up. It just works.
I am going to agree with you here. Okay, I'm rocking an S8, but even before that, with the 6, I never had an issue either. Now, obviously the S6 was a considerable leap, apparently in performance. But the only when I had that, the first watch I ever had was the 2nd gen watch. Now, to be honest with you, that thing was like running treacle, But you're right. I don't think I've ever spoken to anybody who's ever said to me the same question. Oh yeah, my watch.
I wish my watch was faster.
I don't think I've ever had anybody say to me that. Now, I think you and I were talking about this the other day. Yeah, what I'd love to see. I'm all for performance. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for upgrade. In terms of getting something from it. But what I'd rather see is battery life, isn't it? Rather see extended battery life than necessarily hyper performance. It's a bit like the M1 chip on an iPad. For 99% of users, that is overkill, isn't it?
Massive overkill, yeah. Definitely.
So,
but I mean, we're hearing rumors that WatchOS 10 is going to give you a big visual overhaul, aren't we?
Yes.
So maybe it's going to need that extra grunt. But maybe my Watch 4 won't be getting WatchOS 10 because it won't be man enough to run it. I don't know.
But the A15 Bionic is a pretty powerful chip. I mean, it's not really far behind an M1, is it? To be honest with you.
No, I mean, obviously, I doubt they'll be using all 6 cores, just like they didn't with the A13, which again had 16 cores, but they only took 2 of them. So they'll be taking a subset of the stuff. So, but yeah, generally each of the cores was quicker on an A15 to an A13, more power efficient, used up less space. So,
yeah, I mean, look, it's not exactly a slow tortoise of a chip. It's going to be pretty powerful, especially as it's not going to have to drive a 6-inch screen and all the other capabilities of always on stuff you do on a phone plus the cameras. So actually there's going to be a lot of available power there to it. Now, you mentioned about the screen size there and visual updates and that. I was saying to you the other day, I'm toying with going to an Ultra, even though I kind of had one and then I gave back because I thought it was too big. I keep seeing people that really like him, but my bugbear with the Ultra at this point in time is that the Ultra, the screen just upscales. They haven't. I don't think Apple really have taken advantage of that extra screen
estate.
All they've done is just not blown it up, but it isn't what you're not seeing. What I would say is a true redesign to take full advantage of that screen. And the same, if you recall, was exactly what happened with the iPad, wasn't it?
I'm about to say it's like running an iPhone app, but on an iPad, isn't it? Well, it's not got an iPad display version.
No, and do you remember though initially when the iPads launched, it was terrible, weren't they? The apps,
an awful lot of the apps didn't have iPhone versions, did they, or layouts.
It was just awful, absolutely awful. So
and they used the worst upsizing tech ever, didn't they? There was no anti-aliasing put on anything like that. It was just a straight, let's just double the pixels.
It's like Fisher Price comes to play, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think they really do need to think about how they do this, and I'm sure obviously Apple are. I don't think for a second that Apple are not thinking about this. But it would be good to see a nice speed boost, a battery, at least a minimum of 2-day battery life. Would be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And let's go from there. But yeah, I don't know. Given how basically the last 3 generations of the watch have effectively, apart from the Ultra, because the Ultra was the first true redesign, wasn't it? Really.
Yeah.
Apart from the sort of the rounding of the screen size, we've not seen anything really to state that this has been a massive overhaul of the watch. So
no, not at all.
Let's hope that the next version comes in and is better. So talking about their larger screen sizes.
Yes, and next version. So we're bored of the iPhone 15 already.
Oh, I'm done with it. Yeah,
we're finished with them on that one. We're talking about iPhone 16 now. Or not us. Display analyst Ross Young is talking about it. So he was put out some tweets the other day, basically saying he's expecting the iPhone 16 Pros to get some bigger displays. So he's saying the non-Pros are going to stay at the same 6.1, 6.7 inches. But the normal Pro will jump from 6.1 to 6.4 inches on display. And the Pro Max or Ultra or whatever we call it by that point will jump from 6.7 to 6.9 inches. So nearly a 7-inch display on the Pro Max. Man, it's not going to fit in my jeans anymore, is it?
I didn't want to. I was trying not to make a bad joke then about
you're pleased to see me, kind of thing. No.
Just, I mean, to keep a straight face here, a 7-inch screen size. We are bordering now on small tablet, are we not?
We are. So I'm sitting there looking at my 14 Pro and going, okay, so they're slimming the bezels, but I'm still not entirely seeing where they're still. I mean, it could just be purely down to shrinking the bezels down on it. But is that? I mean, maybe just at a slightly bigger thing. But yeah, it's getting big now. What else was he saying? There was also still this talk has come around about having the 16 will also be the generation that gets the underscreen Face ID tech. He was saying, whilst Quo is also saying it's going to go a step further, and the front-facing camera is also going to be under display.
Look, there's a lot of tech to hide under a display there, isn't it?
There is. I mean, and also, what happens to Dynamic Island if both go under the display? Obviously, if we still have the camera there, but the Face ID under, then we'll still have Dynamic Island definitely to hide that. I can't see Apple changing that. No. But if both go under display, are we still keeping the Dynamic Island?
Well, no, because I guess you wouldn't need to, would you?
No, but they put an awful lot of effort into advertising it to step back 2 generations later.
Yeah, well, we don't need that anymore.
Yeah, goodbye.
I
don't know. I kind of like it when apps actually use it decently. I like having it there. We just need more apps to use it properly or effectively.
I absolutely 100% agree with you. I think Dynamic Island, when used, as you say, when used effectively, is a fantastic UI addition. I use it quite a lot with that Flighty app.
And that ties in with live activities, doesn't it?
And it's what I'm saying. It's just seamless. Absolutely.
I love seeing how close my pizza is in real time.
Yeah, those sort of exactly. But it's it's a great way of doing it. Okay, just a great way of doing it. So I think you're right. But yeah, knowing Apple, they'll come up with some other alternative. They will. They won't get rid of it straight away. There'll be a reason for it, and we'll be told that it's for our own good, and then we'll believe it.
Yeah.
The Apple marketing machine will have done a number on us, won't it? But yeah, I don't know. But look, we always kept joking for every year. Have we reached peak iPhone size? I'm not sure we have. I think
no. And then they're going to double it when they bring out the foldable one.
Well, that's what I was just going to say.
You have a pair of 7-inch ones.
What's that? 14-inch screen?
14-inch screen unfolded, man. Definitely not going in my pocket, or certainly not unfolded.
That's I mean, obviously not quite. I know. Joking aside, it isn't but it's still that's a big. That'll be a big screen across that. But yeah, I wonder. At what point do you say, you know what, this is too big now?
I don't know. Talking of big, I think next week we'll do an update on all Google's releases. They had their announcement yesterday, but a bit too late before going live for us to grab all the details. But yeah, they released a load of kits, so maybe we'll do an update on that next week.
They will indeed. I've already had the email this morning from the Australian Google store, funny enough, saying to me, "Do I want to pre-order the new Pixel tablet?" If it wasn't $899 Australian dollars, I might be tempted to.
Oh, exactly. That's the Pixel, isn't it? The Pixel tablet,
Yeah,
or whatever it's called,
with,
with
with,
the.
with the stand, the dock that doubles as a speaker. What does that look like?
It looks like a Nest Max or whatever
It
you call it.
does, doesn't it? What did we? And that's exactly what we said last time, wasn't it? But
It
yes,
does, but
um,
and we'll talk about this next week. It doesn't have any
we
of the
will.
smart functionality in the base. So once you take the tablet away, the base is just useless.
Yeah, exactly. It is
More news next week on that one.
But yes, we will be back next week to talk about it. So we'll be back next week then for episode 134, as we get all the latest roundups, all the tech news, and as Carl said, we will bring you all of the latest from Google's I/O event. Actually, there's quite a few other news stories there to talk about, including their AI vision as well. I think is probably a good way to look at it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So on that note, then I've been Jay. Oh, hang on, I forgot to do the closing stuff. So of course, yes. You can find all of our show notes at techrant.online, and of course we are still on the new Twitter at Weekly Techrant. Of course, please share, send us a comment, tell us what you like, what you don't like, and of course you can find all of our podcasts, I guess is the right way to describe it. I was about to say
Our ramblings,
our streams, wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you're listening to us now, we're on all of the major platforms. So please do, share with your friends. And if we're not on the platform that you want to listen to us on, do let us know as well. We can upload that and change it. So on the final note, I've been Jay.
Are you sure? I've been Carl.
Sure.
Have a good afternoon, all.